Hey y'all, it's Benita, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday. Hope you all enjoyed your holiday for those that celebrated. And I hope you all are praying for everyone that will be impacted by this big, horrible, ugly bill that was passed and signed. I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to say. What I would say probably wouldn't be best to put it on the video. But my heart goes out to everyone that's going to be impacted by this, including myself, you know. That's the first thing I thought about. Like, I know it's been the hand of God that has kept me all these years. But I cannot negate the fact that I have a wonderful team of experts, all of who are Christians, and we have prayed together. We have walked together these 13 years. Of me living with 2 different types of brain tumors, strokes, surgeries, brain surgeries. Now we're in the phase where we're having to go back and correct the things that the radiation damaged. For instance, it's been 2 years now since I had my eyes done. My eyes I had to have radiation to my brain because the tumor kept growing back. For those of you who don't know, I have been living past 13 years with 2 different types of brain tumors. I share my story quite frequently, but I don't know. I think after I lost my house, I stopped sharing as much because I was having such a hard time dealing with losing my home, you know. So that really made the depression I deal with like at an all-time low, and it was really hard for me to deal with. Not only all of that, I just still grieve every day for my daughter. Some of you understand, some of you won't. Some of you say, well, if it's been longer than a year, it's been longer than 5 or 10 or whatever, you know, oh, you should be over that. There is not a day that goes by that I don't miss my daughter. So if you're one of those people that believe that a parent should just get over losing a child, then please don't comment on my video. Please, 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 please. Because I don't know what I'm going to say back to you if you say something to me like that, in all honesty. You know, I try to keep it cordial, keep it cute, but some things you have to know. Not to say to people, you have to know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away, when to run, you know. So I said all that because even at these times we're living in, everyone at some point or another is dealing with a form, let me say it like that, a form of mental health, perhaps in their own way. Perhaps some people will never admit that they struggle with depression, or they've been diagnosed with severe depression or PTSD or any type of mental illness, particularly in our communities and in the church, because we you know, unfortunately, everything that the church can't explain, they demonize it. So if you can't explain that not all depression is environmental, then you call it demonic. Not all depression is based on trauma and what somebody had to deal with. Sometimes which is partly, in my case, those neurotransmitters that just don't click the way they used to, particularly if you've had any type of trauma to the brain, you know, strokes, what are the other ones called? TIAs, head injuries, any kind of injury, brain surgery, brain tumors, if you had a series of concussions or you suffer from really bad migraines. I tell people all the time, a headache is pain in the head. A migraine is pain in the brain. There is a really vast difference there, because in another video I'll explain how migraines and strokes, they share some of the same symptoms. Okay, I'll share that with you at another time. Right now I want to talk about our mental health during this time. I have studied psychology. I have a psychologist, and I also have a psychiatrist that I see regularly to help me process, help me deal, help me be able to not even understand, but to keep living in this world without my daughter, to keep going, keep fighting, fighting with having 2 different types of brain tumors, fighting the depression, fighting the, I want to be really transparent, fighting when my mind tells me to give up the fight, when my mind tells me, well, if I can't have my daughter with me, then I'll go with her. And I know some of you can understand exactly what I mean when I just said that. That's a fight. You know, I'm not going to pretend that just because I'm saved, I have a relationship with God, that certain things are that I'm not susceptible to certain things, to certain mind battles, because I am. It has nothing to do with being saved. It has nothing to do with being filled with the Holy Ghost. All of that, it has nothing to do with that. I miss my child, period. And I always say the grace that God gave me was to be the first one to be the one to see her take her first breath, and the one to see her take her last. That is the grace. That's the grace that God gave me as her mother. To be the first one to hold her hand, to touch her, to tell her I love her, to kiss her. And to be the last one to hold her hand, to kiss her, to tell her I love her. So these times are hard for more than just what's happening, you know. They're hard because it compounds what many people are already dealing with. And I know talking about mental health is not, you know, on a lot of people's priority. Like I said, particularly in my community, in what we consider the black church. People say, there's no such thing as black church or white church. Yes, it is. Let's not fool ourselves. We may not want to say it what it is, but I call a thing a thing. We are not as open and comfortable talking about mental health. I am. I'm so free. I'm so free in that area because, like I said, as long as I keep fighting, I keep winning. But if by chance I ever lose my fight to depression, I just want everybody to know I fought. I fought like hell. That's what I want to say. These days are are the results of dangerous people, careless people, demonic people that could care less if we live or die. And so for you and I, we have to make a conscious decision every day. Am I going to live today? Or am I going to die today? Now, notwithstanding, we all have a time that we should go. Let's make that clear. However, there are times when too much is too much. People say, oh, things will never get that bad. I'll never consider doing that. I'll never consider, hurting myself. I'll never consider taking my own life. Things will never get that bad for me. Okay. Praise God for you. Hallelujah. Everybody is not built the same. What you think is too much for you to take could just be the start of what someone else can take. My brother and my sister-in-law were here a few weeks ago, and my sister-in-law, she is a beast of an attorney, she's well respected. She and my brother are highly educated people. They're well off. They're well traveled. I think, in fact, they just came back from, I think, Greece. Because when I spoke to her, she said they were in the middle of the ocean in Greece somewhere. So we were all sitting on the bed and talking, and I was sharing with them how sometimes I still struggle, with my thoughts. Not enough to act on them, but I'm not going to pretend like it does not come to me that I want to be with my daughter, or I just want all of my suffering to end. I want, like I told you guys, I lost my home. I'm living in a hotel. And then still dealing with these two different types of brain tumors. And for me, so the tumor decided it wanted to wrap itself around my carotid artery. So here's what that means to those of you who don't know. If the tumor squeezes that artery, it throws me into a massive stroke. Because I've had them before, the damage could be great, or it could be irreversible. So either way, it's like I'm literally walking around with a ticking time bomb in my head. And I think that because people see this, they tend to not either believe or understand that I literally have a ticking time bomb in my head. And it's only by the grace of God that I'm still here. For the past, I don't know how many years, I've either spent my birthday in the hospital, coming out of surgery, or coming out of a surgical procedure where I literally have to recuperate at home, I am so determined that this year I actually get to celebrate August 6th outside of a hospital, outside of a recuperating bed at home or at the hotel. But my sister-in-law said to me, when I was talking to her, she said to me, she pronounces my name Bernita with the R in it, but it's Benita. There's no R in my name. And so she says, Bernita, she says, I don't think I could have gone through as much if you've gone through and still come out, number one, looking like you, still come out talking the way you talk, still come out believing God. She says, I don't know. And when I tell you, I just looked at her because I didn't know what to say, because again, she is super, super educated, super intelligent. She has an incredible prayer life and relationship with God. I mean, she's all of that and so much. She's her, you know, and my brother is him, you know. They're well trained. I just love them. I don't know, I love them. They're like my second set of parents. You guys know my mother, my father passed away, I think 95, 96, and then my mother passed away in, I want to say 20 or 21, 2021, somewhere up in there, right before her birthday and right before Mother's Day that year. And I've always been a daddy's girl, so my brother stepping in is everything to me. It is absolutely everything to me. And to hear them say that they're proud of me, it really, I don't know, it gave me a little bit more hope. You know, it made me feel like I should just hold on a little bit longer. Because I did share with them, you know, how I've actually had suicide attempts in the past. I haven't had one since 2011, 2012 was, for me, my last and final time. However, it does not make the thoughts completely disappear or wiped from my memory bank. So I'm very honest about that and very transparent about that. You know, a lot of people say, oh, I wouldn't tell people. You're not me. You don't walk in my shoes. You've not traveled the road I've traveled. You don't carry what I carried. Everybody carries whatever they carry differently. I personally, I just decided, if I got all this going on, the one thing I can do for me is look good. You know, that's the one thing I can do, is keep myself together as much as lies within my hands, my capabilities, my capacity, you know. Even when I'm battling with depression, I still keep myself together, because I feel like a lot of days that's something I can hold on to. I can see that, visually see it. And if I can visually see myself fighting, then I can keep fighting. And so I really do miss my daughter. I miss her every day. My psychiatrist told me that I have survivor's remorse. I knew what that was. Like I said, I've studied psychology also. I actually have one more year to get my degree. I'll tell y'all about that on another video about school. I have one more year. I'm a senior, and I have one more year to complete my degree. I think I have like 13, 14 more classes, and then I'm done. But I'll tell you about that on another video. Because right now I just want to kind of stay focused on the mental health aspect of what I believe is going to increase as the days roll in. Particularly, like I said, for people who are losing benefits, people who are losing their medical coverage. I will say this, I think this whole thing was really just about Trump as a white man, an old white man, set in his racist ways, undoing everything that Obama, a black man, did for this country. You can try, but you can't erase him from our history. And I think that was the entire deal with this Project 2025, trying to take us back to a time where black people were not free, women were not free, you know. And so I do see that mental health crises and issues and things dealing with mental health are going to be on the increase. They're going to be on the rise, and they're going to rise very quickly, because when you consider losing your health care, you know, one of my medicine is like it's $4,000 a month. That's just for one, you know. Then another one I take is a self-injector. I have to have that every month to help control the migraines. The tumor is stable, but it's still there. After the second time it grew back, I had to go all the way back through all of those surgeries again. So when the first ones grow back, the second one grows back. They're not the same. So you can imagine my concern. I'm trying not to let fear come in on top of everything else I'm dealing with. But my concern is just like everybody else who's losing or will lose their medical coverage, you know. So I just want everyone to please be mindful. If you can help people, help them. If you can't, then just don't talk about people. Don't, oh, you're on social media begging. Now, listen, I get it. There's some scammers out there. I've been scammed twice on social media. One time with this graphic artist. He said he was an apostle and he was doing specials for ministry. Paid him, never got any work done from him. I used to do ghostwriting, even for preachers. I delivered half their work under contract. You know, I have preachers that owe me thousands of dollars. Now, if I wanted to, I could enforce their contractual obligations. But you know what? I let it go. I let it go. So you never know what people are dealing with. So don't get so beside yourselves that you start saying, oh, that's not true, or oh, it's so many scammers. Trust me, I know I've been scammed before by people in the church. Okay? And it's no fun. So there's never any way I would do anything like that. I don't care. Listen, I'm living in a hotel, and you still can't get me to do nothing, falsify no information, scam no. I don't fear the law as much as I fear God, and that kind of stuff comes back on you sooner or later. I don't care what you say. I don't care who you are. You can call it karma. You can call it whatever. I know that's reaping what you sow. Because if you sow to the wind, baby, you can expect a whirlwind. I'm not trying to have no whirlwinds. I got enough problems to worry about. So no, I'm not going to do that. But I do know for a fact, I've seen it, I feel it, I sense it. When these changes take effect, please, if you know someone in your family that's going to be affected by this new law, this new stupid bill, just pray, call them, check on them. I'm one. People are calling and say, oh, I'm well. I can literally be in the bed with my covers pulled over my head, have not eaten in 2 days, and someone will call me, ask me how I'm doing, and I'm going to say, I'm well, thank you for asking, how are you? I don't think I'm lying, I just think that's what I'm programmed to say. Because listen, if someone called and they said, well, how you feeling? And I'm just like, today my faith is low, my spirit's low, my energy is low, then people think you're complaining, or they think you're weak, or they try to give you a bunch of scriptures about not having enough faith, and oh, well, you need to pray more, or you need to spend more time with God, when none of that has anything to do with anything. And I think that's why a lot of people not necessarily hide their mental health issues, but don't discuss them and don't trust us enough to be as transparent as I am. I don't care about what people, I used to be so afraid to tell people I was seeing a therapist or a psychologist or psychiatrist or what. I used to be so scared, especially if in a church. Oh my God, I'm a retired pastor. I pastored for almost 30 years. But when this tumor kept growing back, and I'm at church and I'm having these massive nosebleeds, and so I had to let that go for my health's sake. Has nothing to do with my faith, has nothing to do with me quitting a calling. This has everything to do with the wisdom that God has given me. I'll be 58 next month. August 6th, I'll be 58 years old. I am thankful for the wisdom that God has given me. I don't have to prove anything to you people. I don't have to prove my faith. I don't have to prove my relationship. You know what? If I run down the street butt naked, I'm still saved. I'm still covered by God. I'm still loved by God. You know, we like to make people think the least little thing makes God angry with us. That's what we do in the black church. I'm talking about the smallest, like, minute thing, especially if you go to talking about mental health. Oh, that's a spirit. You all don't recognize a spirit from a steel toe boot. That's another video for another time. Here's what I want to say. People that have real mental issues and they know they have them, they go see about themselves. The people y'all like to call crazy and demonic, those are the ones that know something wrong but won't get the help. Because why? Jesus gonna fix it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he can and he will. But let's not negate our responsibilities for ourselves. Let's not do that. Let's not negate the wisdom that we should have from being in relationship with God. If you're not going to learn anything other than Jesus going to fix it and, oh, just pray and leave it in God's hands. Okay. I'm going to get off with that one. I just wanted to share with y'all. Mental health is a real thing. People are dealing with so much that we don't even know about. Some of you don't even care. Some of you know and still don't care. But I want to tell you this. If you do know someone, be more kind to them. Be more loving. Be more understanding. Try to reach out a little bit more. People that really suffer with depression and things of that nature, depression and anxiety, PTSD, ADHD, all of that other stuff, we're not always inclined to reach out first because there is something that goes along with all of these titles and symptoms and things. Sometimes that tells us you don't want to bother nobody. You don't want nobody to know how you really feel. They ain't gonna do nothing but talk about you. I want to share, get over people so you can live. I've been in ministry since I was 14, and I'll be 58 next month. Being out of the pulpit don't mean I'm out of God. Being out of the pulpit don't mean I'm out of faith. Being out of the pulpit don't mean I'm out of relationship. Okay? So regardless of what anybody thinks of me, of you, share your story. Those that care, care. Those that don't. Those that'll help will help. Those that won't. Never get offended or upset with people about their stuff. Work as hard as you can to get your own stuff. I have 2 huge storage because I work to get a lot of stuff. People that live in hotels are not necessarily poor people. They're people that life happened to. Life. This hotel where I am, I see blacks, I see whites, I see all nationalities. I see everything from Jeeps. I'm looking at a Lexus. I'm looking at I think that's the new Dodge Charger. Company trucks. You know, I've seen white businessmen have full conventions here, everything. I see somebody with a boat. The people got their boats parked here. These people live in this hotel. So just because something bad happened to you, or something adverse, or something completely out of your control happened to you, you're not a bad person. You're not an adversarial person. And what happened to you, if you could control it, believe me, I know you would have. Because if I could have controlled these brain tumors, I would have. But all I know is that somehow all of these things, somehow, some way, it has to work for my good. It has to. It has to. Now that's the one thing. If I stop believing that, I know I'm gonna lose it all. Like, lose it. If I don't know nothing else, I don't know what's gonna happen with my health insurance. I don't know what's gonna happen with these brain tumors. I don't know anything. The only thing I know is that God has a plan for me. His plan is that I prosper and be in health. His plan is that whatever my end is, my end is good. That's what I know. And so I'm glad I had this time to share with you all. If you've lost a child, you had to bury a child, my heart literally goes out to you. We share a missing part of our heart because our child is no longer with us. I'll never tell you to get over it. I'll never tell you to stop grieving. I don't have no answers for nobody that has had to bury a child. I'm not. Only answer I have is that feel whatever you want to feel, whenever you want to feel it, when it comes to your child that you carry two hearts that beat in one body. Honey, feel how you want to feel. Grief comes over you, just ride those waves on that until you feel better. Just ride it. Hold on to something and ride the waves. Every now and then, somebody will throw you a life jacket, but if not, I promise you, God will come get you himself. I can promise you that much. I can promise you. Might not seem like it, but he will. He will. Alright? So, I gotta get my mind ready. I'm supposed to have another surgery. It's one of those corrective surgeries that has to be done to correct some of the damage done from the radiation. So I'll talk to you guys about that later. So that's something that's constantly on my mind as I keep my eyes on what's going on with this new bill. Why would anybody call it a big, beautiful bill when all it is really set up to do is kill people? If you watch me, you follow me, you know how passionate I am about politics, about injustice, about equal justice. I'm very passionate about those things. But until next time, again, if you've lost a child, my heart and your heart, we're synced together like that. And just know I'm here. You want to talk, I'm here. Sometimes, like I said, not only do I have a psychologist, psychiatrist, I'm also well versed in psychology because that is my field of study. And I pray that we all make it through these next years. You know, find the helpline center in your area, 1-800 number. I normally have that number on hand. If you're struggling with suicide, suicidal thoughts, or if you have suicidal tendencies like I did, I'll put the number in the comment section of this video. Alright, until next time, this is Benita, and yes, I'm still the host of Live Talk with Benita Bradley. It's just that when I got evicted and they literally put my stuff out, my laptop was damaged and I just haven't been able to get another one. So as soon as I do that, my show will be back up and running. And you guys know my show was doing big numbers, you know. So let's just remember to be kind, because you never know what the next person is going through. Okay, so until next time, you're not alone, and let's just try to make it through these next few years, months, weeks, days. Okay, until then, bye bye.